Welcome back. Mercedes-Benz shares are lower this morning, seeing profit decline in the third quarter as supply chain pressures and price cuts in the EV space took a toll. Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Pras Subramanian to give us more insight into what's happening in the EV market, and especially on that luxury end here, Pras.
I know, Brad, you and I both have seen that EQS AMG. We both thought it was a pretty cool or pretty nice looking car, but there might be sort of a reckoning here in the EV market, at least with Mercedes. They reported a profit decline and revenue drop due to challenges from the EV competition and also supply chain issues. Mercedes EBIT fell around 7% to 5.06 billion, revenue down 1.4% to 39 billion, both below analyst estimates. Looking at EVs, Mercedes says it faced a subdued market environment marked by intense price competition. Also, CFO Harold Wilhelm said that the EV market was a quote unquote pretty brutal space, adding that I can hardly imagine the current status quo is fully sustainable for everybody. So not great there. However, Mercedes said it's still targeting a 50% hybrid and EV global sales sort of mix by 2025, and it says it'll only launch EV-only cars after that in 2025. And prior to this, Mercedes is doing pretty well. They were selling their high-end, top-end price vehicles, were getting good margins there, good selling there, and using those gains to subsidize the EV transition. It seems that transition is sort of slowing down, and as buyers balk at high prices, and at least here in the U.S., you also have the infrastructure problem. There's not many chargers out there for people to use.
Yeah, Pras, I guess my question is, how much do you think that this is going to delay kind of the EV adoption? And we're not just talking about Mercedes. You talked about the fact that we're seeing it from other big industry players. We know Ford, GM has scaled back maybe some of their plans to ramp up EV production. So what does that do just in terms of targets and that eventual mass adoption that we've all been waiting for?
Everyone's been waiting for that sub $40,000 EV, which is maybe the holy grail, maybe even $30,000 EV. That's going to be the one that's there for mass adoption. But I think the problem is twofold. You have prices that are too high right now, and the cars cost too much money to make, so the manufacturers aren't really making a profit or any profit at all. Plus, like I mentioned, the charging infrastructure is so poor, at least in some parts of the country, it's hard to justify that cost. We saw, of course, in our Yahoo Finance Ipsos poll that nearly 60% of people are not interested in EV at this time. It's even worse for trucks, things like SUVs and EVs. So I think there's sort of like I said, a reckoning here in this country where people need to see a value proposition, but also the infrastructure build out here. And it's almost a chicken and egg thing. So you're not going to pay a lot of money to get the car unless you see the EV infrastructure, but you're not going to see the EV infrastructure unless you actually have the cars on the road.
Pras, this is really interesting to continue to track. I mean, I'm loading up, Carvana right now just to see what prices are going at. And I'm keying in some of these Mercedes vehicles just to see where people might be perhaps taking on some price for the former combustion engine versions. But that EQE that we sat in, it was the EQE, was it?
EQS AMG. It was the future, right? The whole screen and the panel.
We are living large. It's the AMG. It was gorgeous.
You guys got to take me with you next time. I want to be sitting in these luxury.
It's got touch screen in the back. In the back.
Wow.
Incredible.
All right.
We're definitely doing that.
We got to do that. All right, Pras. Thanks so much for breaking that down for us.